The Great Replacement Theory is just a far right-wing conspiracy theory that definitely is not happening right before your very eyes. All right, welcome to Come and Take It. Last podcast. I know I took a week off. I'm sorry. It turns out when you have a family, you like to do things like take them on vacation. But I'm back.
I'm back, everybody! I'm back!
And last time I was with you guys, I spent a bit of time breaking down Kamala's abysmal failure as the border czar. Border czar Kamala Harris. I know. Cue the mainstream media, just like, Kamala was never actually the border czar. I mean, she was the border czar, but she wasn't like the border czar. Like, up until 5 minutes ago, we all agreed with you that she was terrible at literally every aspect of her job, but now she's the candidate, so she's amazing. She's excelling at everything, right? Remember that? So, on the topic of the border, and, you know, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's not really a dead horse yet. This is still happening to this day. The devastation that is taking place at our southern border, particularly in the state of Texas, just cannot be overstated. So it's obviously one thing to say, this is what the federal government has done to our state with their open borders policies, but it's another to say, well, here's what's perhaps being done about it. So that's what I kind of want to talk about. And, you know, both of these things in and of themselves may not be, they're not going to move mountains, but it's something, okay? So let's talk about Governor Greg Abbott. I know there are a lot of people who would be like, well, he's been so tough on the border. He put buoys in the water. Well, Greg Abbott wants you to think that the buoys that they do have in the water, or did have in the water. I can't even keep up with the court case right now where we're at on that. But the buoys that we have there for deterrent purposes, I know he wants you to think that they are covering the entire border. They're not. Okay? The buoys that are in the water are just in one small spot. And strangers are still getting into our country unvetted. So I don't want to, I like to give credit where credit is due. I feel like that's fair. Okay, I've given Greg Abbott credit several episodes. This is my inaugural year. I would say that that's very generous when you look at the state of the state. Okay, when you look at the state of Texas and you see how many things are in disarray and you have to call things out fairly and you have to call balls and strikes, I feel like I have been very fair with Greg Abbott, and I like to give him credit where I do think that credit is due, because I am a firm believer in, if you are going to criticize people, you should also be willing to compliment them when they deserve it. So I'm not going to really compliment him necessarily on his border policy, but I am going to say, let's talk about what Texas can do to keep these people out and what Greg Abbott might be doing to help bring awareness to that. So what can we do to help keep people out? Well, not a ton, as it turns out, when the feds are working against you, but let's talk also about the financial drain on the state once these people are here, okay? I know you're not supposed to say things that like hurt people's feelings in the year 2024, even if they're true, but the fact of the matter is that if these people were coming here to contribute to the country and bring valuable skills and be a contributing member of society, they would have come the right way. They would have come through the front door. They would have filed their paperwork. They would have waited their turn. They would have known, by the way, that they would get their turn because of the marketable, valuable skills that they could bring to this country, that they could contribute to this country like we all are supposed to. And they would do things the right way. So just in and of itself, the fact that these people are already doing this the wrong way, again, sorry, not sorry if it hurts anyone's feelings, like they obviously are a drain on society just by being here. The moment they make their way across the border and they get here, they are a drain on our society. Period. Oh no, Sarah, that might hurt their feelings. No, what are you talking about? These are just people here for a better life. No, we'll get into that again. a little bit later. So obviously, particularly our state feels the brunt of this financial and economic strain, this financial and economic drain on our resources. You as a taxpayer are going to pay more in taxes to cover costs associated with the Biden-Harris open borders policy. That is a fact.
Well, I am poor.
So Greg Abbott, again, credit where credit is due. He did just sign an executive order requiring hospitals here in the state of Texas to collect and report healthcare costs for illegal aliens. So when he signed this, he released a statement saying, due to President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's open borders policies, Texas has had to foot the bill for medical costs for individuals illegally in the state. Texans should not have to shoulder the burden of financially supporting medical care for illegal immigrants. That is why today I issued an executive order requiring Texas Health and Human Services Commission to collect and report healthcare costs for illegal immigrants in our state. Texas will hold the Biden-Harris administration accountable for the consequences of their open borders policies, and we will fight to ensure that they pay back Texas for their costly and dangerous policies. Now, he did say, he says, Texas will hold the Biden-Harris administration accountable for the consequences. So he's keeping account, right? He's totaling it up. What is he going to do with it and how we will ever get that money paid back? I'm not really sure. That remains unclear. But we can't just do nothing either, right? Like, we do need some sort of account for how much we're spending. We do need some sort of account to hold in front of them and say, you owe us this money. How do you justify making a state pay this money? And by the way, I do mean forcing a state to pay this money, because we've tried to put National Guard out there. Again, credit where credit is due. This might be the most credit I've ever given Greg Abbott on any of my podcasts. So here it is. Credit where credit is due. He has sent National Guard, Texas National Guard, to the border and instructed them to put down razor wire, to lock gates, to cement that. Like, they're trying to keep things closed, and the feds just come in and open, unlock, cut the wire, cut the locks. Like, they are forcing us to do this, to pay for this. That's not, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not embellishing. They are literally forcing our state into this. So we can't do nothing. There has to be an accounting of all of this, which, by the way, in 2021, Attorney General Ken Paxton's office actually totaled what they believed the cost of illegal aliens was to Texas taxpayers. They said it was $152 million a year for housing, between $62 million and $90 million to include them in Texas's emergency Medicaid program, which really pisses me off that we have to even do that. And between $579 million and $717 million for hospitals to provide uncompensated medical care. So we will get an updated figure here on that particular portion. Not to mention the billions that we spend on educating them in our school systems. So again, these are numbers that are so insanely high. I think that it's hard for people to grasp. Like, this is your money. That's you. That's where your taxes go to pay for these people to come here, do things the wrong way, and then get free stuff. Get free medical care. Get free housing or subsidized housing. Get emergency Medicaid. I mean, I feel like as an American citizen or a Texas citizen, you have no idea all the free stuff you can get unless you just go down across the border, come back up without your identification, and just identify as an illegal immigrant. And you will be able to game the system far better than if you were an actual citizen. Now, does that strike anyone else as odd?
Yeah, pretty weird, huh?
I'm not advocating for anyone gaming the system. I'm certainly not okay with, as hard as I work, my taxpayer money, my taxes that I'm forced to pay, that I already think it is theft. All the taxation that I have to pay is theft. Okay? But just to add insult to injury, this is billions of dollars a year that we are paying for people who did this the wrong way, or we are rewarding bad behavior.
Then we are just rewarding their bad behavior.
And it's so maddening on so many levels, but especially on the level of just the human psyche. Like, what are we telling these people? I know as a mom, you know not to reward bad behavior. Okay, my toddler doesn't get rewarded when he throws a tantrum, when he whines for something, when he cries about something, when he throws a fit because I'm not going to get him a toy at a store or he doesn't get something immediately. The last thing you do is reward them for the bad behavior. But apparently, with illegal immigrants, they just get the gamut of free stuff for doing things the wrong way. So it's just sick to me that I have to literally, now I'm like, for a lot of my employment, a lot of the stuff that I do, I'm actually a 1099. So I don't even, like, I have to physically write my tax money, at least the federal tax money. I have to write it to the IRS. That's gross. Now, I know some of you maybe living in Texas, you have property taxes and maybe you do write that check. Maybe you have it in your escrow. I don't know. But I mean, to think about, I do a lot of thinking when I'm sitting there writing out a check of how much I'm paying in taxes. I do a lot of thinking about it. I do a lot of like mumbling expletives under my breath where no one can hear. I maybe like throw my pen across the room when I'm done. I do a lot of thinking about how hard I'm working and how much of my money that I'm earning because I'm working hard is going to fund illegal immigrants. So thank you to Greg Abbott for at least doing something to hold these people to account. We need an accounting of how much we as taxpayers are spending on the Biden-Harris catastrophe. And they need to ultimately be accountable for that. So one more pushback that I'll give you that's on the horizon here in the state of Texas that I find to be particularly interesting is a Texas rancher who lives on the border is actually suing the Biden-Harris administration in conjunction with they are plaintiffs with Kinney County Sheriff's Office, and Atascosa County over, of course, the botched handling of the southern border. So to me, this one is interesting because it's a private property owner. I believe his name is Michael Vickers. And so he's like linking forces with these county and county departments to present the same message as Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton have been trying to present, which is, hey, borders are Kamala. Cackling Kamala. Joe. Dementia patient Joe.
Robot dementia.
Your open borders policy is destructive and it's inhumane to American citizens, particularly here in the state of Texas, where we get the brunt of it. We're not going to take it anymore. So the ranch in question is 70 miles from the border. And according to this lawsuit, this is just, put yourself in this homeowner's position, in this property owner's position, because this guy isn't just a homeowner. He owns a ranch. Okay, he owns a lot of property. He says in this lawsuit, he has incurred more than $50,000 in gate and fence damages alone. But think about how many of you could sustain just another $10,000, another $10,000, another $10,000, and another $20,000 just repairing your gate and your fence because of these illegal immigrants coming in and, I don't know, destroying it, damaging it. I mean, most people don't just like have that in their back pocket to keep shelling out for something that's happening due to no fault of their own. Now, he also allegedly spent thousands more to prevent further environmental destruction because these illegals, you guys are going to be shocked to hear this, they respect this country when they come here so little that they just leave a bunch of trash and litter behind on his property. I know. Isn't that shocking to hear that these people who don't respect our country enough to come here the right way, to follow the rules, actually care so little that they just leave their crap behind? They don't care that it affects other people's property? I, for one, am shocked to hear that not. So with this trash and litter that they've left behind, it's been affecting the food and the water resources for this guy's livestock, presumably sometimes resulting in death, because apparently in the autopsies that he has conducted of some of his dead cows, he's found plastic bags and trash in their stomachs. So again, like he's just on his ranch, minding his own business, tending to his livestock, trying to live his life. Biden and Harris are like, no, we're going to destroy you because we want to bring in a replacement. Oh, I know. We're not supposed to say that. I know. I'm sorry. Let me say the line. The great replacement theory is just a far right-wing conspiracy theory that definitely is not happening right before your very eyes. Or you could use your brains and think that one through. So this guy says he's forced to always be with a rifle and a pistol to feel safe on his own property. And his dogs apparently have caught hundreds of criminal trespassers, including gang members from, like MS-13, Pistoleros, Mexican Mafia, Tango Blast. Not people you really want just like waltzing around on your land, as it turns out. Oh, but don't worry. Like I said earlier, these people are just here for a better life. It's just a bunch of women and children and families just looking for a leg up, right? That's what we're told, right? That's what the left tells us. They're just here. And how dare you, sir, question their intentions? They're just here for a better life. Oh, except, with every American that dies at the hands of these people, with every American whose livelihoods and homes and towns are ruined because of these people, it just, it becomes more and more difficult for the left to continue spewing this obvious lie. I don't know how you can look anyone in the face, look anyone in the eyes and say that with a straight face. They're just here in search for a better life. I don't know. It seems like they could have done that with all of the destruction. Because, as it turns out, if you bring enough of the third world here, we just become the third world because they don't care about trash. They don't care about your customs. They don't care about your traditions. They don't care about your norms or your morals or your values. They don't care about that. Because if they did, they would have come here the right way. So further on this lawsuit, this really just gets my blood boiling for this particular rancher. I would love to meet this guy. I would love to talk to this guy. If anyone has any connections, let me know in the comments. So they allege in this lawsuit that because of all of this damage that has taken place to his property, the value of it has decreased by at least 33 to 45%. That's incredible. Again, through no fault of his own, he has not done anything wrong. The only thing he's done is chosen to have a ranch 70 miles from the border, probably not realizing that one day Joe Biden was going to be the Obama 2.0 administration, and they were going to try to finish what they tried to start a while back. I just can't even imagine having, property is an investment. People take that into retirement with them. That's a huge 45% decrease in property value. I can't imagine. So a couple other figures here that I'll give you. I mentioned there were county departments that were tied into this lawsuit as well. So during the fiscal year 2022, Kinney County says that they incurred over $65,000 in EMS immigration non-transport, over $8,000 in autopsies and EMS transport, over $17,000 in fuel expenses because of something having to do with illegal immigrants, which totals over $90,000. Now, if you live in a really large city or a really large county, you may be like, well, that's a drop in the bucket, $90,000. That's not a lot of money. These counties, these cities, they have way more money than that. Yeah, y'all, this is not that county. Okay, let me just, the latest census in 2020 lists this county as having a whopping 3,129 people. There are 3,000 people in this county. $90,000 is a heck of a lot of money for this county to be spending on resources for something that they didn't choose, that literally does nothing for them and their people. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
The point is, we need to be talking about this more. The economic drain on our state that this open borders policy is. We are spending money for them to get free hospital visits, free doctor's care, spending money to house them. We're spending billions of dollars on their education. I believe the last figure that I read on this was $7 billion Texas is spending on illegal immigrants to receive education. Why? Essentially, we are giving them opportunities that we don't even get. And eventually, there needs to be a reckoning for that. Eventually, there need to be mass deportations and we need to secure the damn border. But eventually, these numbers also need to be added up and taken to Congress. And they need to answer the question, why are illegal immigrants more important to you than the American citizen? Why? Why do you think so little of me as an American citizen and an American taxpayer that you think that I should work to give my money away to someone who shouldn't even be here? Why? They need to answer that question. And they can't answer that question unless we have a proper accounting of this. Unless we have enough people willing to become plaintiffs over this. I mean, this is treasonous behavior. We can talk about Biden and Harris all day, and I have. They are evil. My opinion, they're evil. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're evil. But Congress has the ability to, make laws. They have the ability to push back on this, and they haven't done any of it. They haven't done that. So, in my opinion, that's treasonous on them as well. Okay. We got to start somewhere. So, let's give them at least a proper accounting. And, kudos to the rancher and these counties that have filed this lawsuit. If anyone knows if they've got a donation page to fund this, you guys let me know because I would love to help them. So that's it for us, guys. Make sure that you leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, smash that like button, as the kids like to say. If you're listening on audio podcast, sure would appreciate you giving us the 5 stars and leaving that would be a rating, but also leaving a review because it'll help us in the algorithm for more people to find us. Because not only are we conservative, I keep saying we, you're just staring at me. There's not a person in my pocket. I just mean Texas scorecard. Not only are we conservative, but this podcast name is also Come and Take It. So you got to believe that they are pulling all of their levers to try to prevent us from being seen. So just make sure you take a moment to do that, and that'll help us out. And we will see y'all next time on Come and Take It.